You can change the story, but you can't change the timeline. Even from prison, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. told a lie so egregious that when I exposed them, they took it down. But guess what? I got something for you. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, in a roundabout, let me get into it. This video right here, Bomb First, when I exposed them, they quickly hid the video, took the video down. Look, check this out. So I got a question for you. Why would Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. say from prison, on a phone conversation with Gullible John from Bomb First, right, that Tupac's godmother, Yasmin Fuller, was fired? So if you listen, but they took the video down. But I'm going to give you the story because when I did it, it was up. But when I did this video, right, they actually took it down. Listen, on the video, you will hear Reggie Wright Jr. On the date that the video was released, on 4/17/2020, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. At that particular time was still in prison for money laundering, drug trafficking, and other charges in relation to him wanting to be a street guy at that particular time, right? On April 17, 2020, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in a prison interview with Gullible John from Bomb First, I call him Bums First, basically said that Yasmin Fuller, Tupac's godmother, the person who was ahead of Euthanasia, Tupac's independent company, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said she was fired in or around June or July 1996. I want you to pay attention to this date because it's very, very important. Remember, June or July of 1996. This right here is a lie. I need you to know that it's a lie. But this is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. once again trying to control the narrative. Why would he say that Tupac fired his godmother in June or July 1996? But make a video making a fake apology 2 years later, right? On May 5th, 2020, when he said he lied and he said he never said Yasmin Fuller was fired. Why would he do that? Let me tell you first off, before I go on, I got some interesting stuff here today. Check it out. The reason why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. did that is because Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knew that Yasmin knew everything. What do I mean by everything? She was in charge of euthanasia, right? So she knew Tupac's business. They talked, you know what I mean? She gave Tupac advice. Tupac had been with Yasmin since he was a young boy. That's what, you know, her son, Yaki Gaddafi, and Tupac were close friends growing up. Why would he do that from prison? Why would he try to tell a lie about something that he didn't know at that time would be refuted and debunked by factual information proving the timeline? So I want you to go, I'm going to show you again. So this video, April 17th, 2020, says 3 times in an interview when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was in prison, said that Yasmin Fula was fired in or around June or July 1996. I want you to hold that date, right? Hold it, because it's very important. You ready? Watch this. So now, here's an article, right? Yasmin Fula talking about August 27th. Just a few days earlier, on August 27th, Tupac had severed a critical tie to death row. He had been on the set all day, right? And in the studio all night. Yasmin recalls, Fula recalls. He sent us to the studio to get cassettes of what he had done the night before. He wanted to listen to it. They said no, that Kenner wouldn't allow it. Pac went crazy. He fired Kenner. Yasmin says what? I typed the letter. On August 27th, there were 2 letters typed. One letter typed and 1 fax typed and sent. One to David Kenner, August 27th. You hear her giving the date. And the fax to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and his failed security company, who hadn't at that time failed, but this lends to motive. Listen, watch. I typed the letter, and he gave me permission to hire another lawyer. Who gave her permission? Tupac did. So Tupac had gave Yasmin that kind of authority because Tupac loved Yasmin. Why would he fire her? Now, if you go back to what Reggie said, live from in prison, he said in and around June or July. That's a motherfucking lie. Why? Because the letter didn't come till when? The letter didn't come till when, y'all? Just a few days earlier, on August 27th. So how could Yasmin be fired if she's the one who prepared the letter in August? Doesn't June and July come before August? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been lying since the beginning because he knew that Yasmin knew everything. Right, listen. Tupac waited longer than I wanted him to, Ogletree said. Who's Ogletree? Ogletree was Tupac's lawyer in the case in New York against the girl. He was Tupac's lawyer. But to Tupac's more streetwise friends, firing Kenner seemed impossibly rash. Big Syke didn't know that had happened until I told him, and when I did, he looked at me for a long moment as if he was having difficulty processing what I had said. Then he murmured repeatedly, he fired Kenner? He fired Kenner? He fired Kenner? Ladies and gentlemen, do you see how Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been lying? He said in around June or July. Notice, he picked that specific timeline, the date should I say, to say that because he knew. Now, at this time, he's in prison, talking from jail, making this video. But see, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knows in his mind what had happened. What happened? What happened, ladies and gentlemen? Yasmin went to the studio because Tupac told him to try to get his cassettes from what he had did, the night before because he wanted to listen to it, right? They wouldn't even let Tupac listen to his own music. But who was at the studio that stopped him? The security. Who was in charge of the security that stopped Tupac at the studio? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. When Yasmin said that, who told them, right? Who told them that they wouldn't allow it, right? They said Kenner wouldn't allow it. So Tupac immediately fired David Kenner, and he fired Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and his security for his personal security. Tupac couldn't say anything about what Suge had going on with Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in working at the studio, right? Right. You get it? You get it? So Reggie was trying to get in front of what he had always tried to do since the beginning in the video that I showed you prior, right? Lying about Suge, telling him who did the shooting, right? Suge came out, quickly debunked that. Lying and asked Frank Alexander to lie about the chain snatching, which was clearly a lie. Frank was there. He know that didn't happen. Actually, it's on video, right? You get it? So this is why he would try to lie on Yasmin, but I got a little something else for you now. Man, I want you to understand, this shit is egregious. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was in prison trying to cultivate lies and trying to control the narrative because he knew and had information that the public didn't know about. Yasmin had not yet released. She had not yet released the facts, right? She didn't release the facts yet. 2 years later, when Yasmin released the facts, right? I was the one who exposed it, right? It was sent to me by a good friend, and I was the one who exposed it. Then I started to do the research, but you have to clearly understand. You have to clearly understand. Look, adamant about the date. And I actually even marked before they took this video down because it was so I exposed them so tough that from 37 minutes and 43 seconds until 38 minutes and 29 seconds is when he was saying it in the video. And he says it 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Gives the date. The months. And on around June or July 1996, when in fact Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., just like David Kenner got the letter, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. got the facts. He knew, but it wasn't out yet, that it was August 27th, 1996, when the facts came in and that he was fired. But what would he do? Knowing this, he would use the platform of Bums First to try to get out and create a lie so that if Yasmin Fula ever spoke out, people would immediately try to discredit her and say that Tupac fired her. Oh, Tupac fired her. You see what I'm saying? Reggie said Tupac fired her. Why would they believe Reggie? Oh, because Reggie was around. He allegedly ran Death Row, right? He was a head of security, and all of these other things, right? This is before the security failure. But listen to this. So when he does that, right? Here's the actual proof of the environment that caused for the letter to be written in the first place. One of the reasons, but I would think the main reason, just a few days earlier, on that date, August 27th, 2 months after June and 1 month after July, right? August 27th, Tupac had severed a critical tie to Death Row. He had been on the set all day and in the studio all night. Fuller recalls. He sent us to the studio to get cassettes of what he had done the night before. He wanted to listen to it, and they wouldn't give Tupac his own music. What did she say? They said no, that Kenner wouldn't allow it. And Pac went what? Tupac went crazy. Went crazy. He fired Kenner, typed the letter. Yasmin said, I typed the letter because she was ahead of Tupac's company, Euthanasia. I'm going to show you that. Listen. And he gave me permission to hire another lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, This is not a game. This is very serious. This shows you the environment and why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. created the environment in Las Vegas for Tupac to be assassinated. It wasn't just something trivial. Tupac went crazy, Yasmin said. She doesn't have no need to lie. She didn't have a dog in the fight at that time. She's explaining in real time what happened. But the fact that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knew about the facts and being fired from prison, he would try to cultivate a narrative, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to pay attention to what I'm telling you. Look, here's Yasmin. You see at the bottom of this fax was sent on August 27, 1990, Tupac's signature. He was that mad. He was that upset that he signed the fax. It wasn't good enough that she just sent the fax saying that. Tupac signed it. And in writing, it has Reggie's name in writing and then the typed information underneath with the date and the time, right? Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. This video right here, once again, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. then would come out in May 5th of 2022. And you probably can still listen to this video from 4 minutes until 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Reggie made this video on Bums First. On May 5th, 2022, you will hear Reggie say that he never said Yasmin Fuller was fired, never used those words. That's why they took the other video down, right? He was trying to cover up what he had said from prison, and so they removed the video. I didn't think to, record the video or put it up on the what's the name, but you can't find the video no more because he said those words, and that's why they took it down. But see, guess what? The key is the timeline. I gave you the timestamp in the video, so you know that it's real, period, right? He said that Yasmin, not once, not two, but 3 times in that video from prison. He said, I never used those words. Those same words, as I point out, were clearly heard. We clearly heard him say in the prison interview on what? April 17th, 2022 with Gullible John. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the most egregious lies, but you can see the motive for Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s actions. Clearly. They're going to get the music at the studio? No, you can't come in, security telling him, what do you mean? Tupac sent us. Yasmin works for his company, Euthanasia, right? The security tell him, and Pac was probably like, well, who told you no? Security. Yasmin then went back and told him. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah? Okay. And they said that David Kenner wouldn't allow it. Tupac immediately did what? He fired Kenner and he fired Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. security company. This is clear evidence, ladies and gentlemen. You can play all the games and talk about all of these other things that you want to. Let me give you some more of this straight game. Check it out now. I want you to pay attention. So Reggie, then when I released the facts and it came out, and Yasmin had released the facts, and I displayed it, right? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. then tries and attempts to come back with this video, right? Basically saying, Reggie Wright, it says Reggie Wright Pac fired me on August 1996. I don't think so. I had guards on him until he passed. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, in the prior video, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s father said that Reggie called him and told him that Tupac was shot. I'm sorry, that Suge Knight was shot and Tupac was dead. But in this video right here, made when? May 5th in 2022, right? We talking about September 7th, 1996, Reggie told his father that Suge was shot and Tupac was dead. right? He didn't have any of this. That was a lie. But listen, but now he tries to tell another lie to cover up that lie in a video that he would make on May 5th, 2022. Some 20 some odd years later, basically saying that, oh, you see the title at the bottom. He said, I had guards on him until he passed. But he called his father the day of the shooting and told his father that Suge got shot and Tupac was dead. 20 years later, I had guards on him until he passed. The lies that this guy has told is sickening. So I wanted to listen. Look, ladies and gentlemen, when you put, like I said, you can change up a story and tell people whatever you want to tell them. But at the end of the day, the timeline does not change. Like I said, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., Gullible John, they took that video down. They took it down because it exposed them at a higher level than they could ever think that would expose them. And the fact that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was in prison for money laundering and drug trafficking, right? We're not done, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious. Check it out. I want you to check it out. Now watch this. To the credibility of Yasmin Fula and why Reggie would do that. In February, Tupac had decided to start his own production company called Euthanasia. And he had asked his old friend Yasmin Fula to come to LA to run it. Fula began trying to organize Tupac's business affairs. Listen, Yasmin comes in, shit starts to change because Yasmin is a very intelligent woman, right? And trying to organize Tupac's business affairs. Tupac's business affairs, to be perfectly honest with you, were in disarray to a certain point. The conflict of interest of David Kimmer and a few other things. But Yasmin's coming in and she's trying to handle business. She said we weren't getting copies of financial accountings, right? She said we'd ask for them and they'd send a present like a car. So they were pacifying Tupac with gifts instead of sending him the actual accounting agreements that he was due. It didn't have to deal with royalties or anything like that. Let's not confuse it, but the accounting of what he needed, what the expenses were, and what he was paying for, and all the things that are important. So they would send like a car. I felt like there was a dark cloud over us, Yasmin said. I knew so much was wrong, but Pac would say, Yas, you can't keep telling me things. I know what I'm doing. Fula felt that Afeni, from who she was becoming estranged, had been influenced by Suge Knight's attention. You understand what I'm saying? You know, Suge paying attention. You know, Tupac signing to Death Row had transformed the lives of his extended families even more than his contract with Interscope had, not knowing at the time that Tupac was still under the contract with Interscope. Suge Knight had recently just come out and said that. He admitted to that, right? They had lived lives of scarcity, worrying about the next meal, worrying about how to pay the rent, Fula says. But now they stayed at an elegant Westwood Marquise hotel for several months, racking up an astonishing bill. An astronomical bill. Pop felt he was cursed with this dysfunctional family, Fula says, although he loved them. And as his success grew, especially in the last year, this presence grew. They were always there. This is Yasmin Fula giving you the environment, giving you the energy, giving you the feelings, giving you the facts of what was going on at that time. This is why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. would say that she was fired before Yasmin had ever begun to speak a word. But another thing, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. took Yasmin's son, Yaki Gaddafi, to the police without her permission after the shooting happened. She was upset about that, and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knew that also. That was another reason for him to try to get ahead with the lies in the narrative that she was fired. You get it? He knew that she knew everything. He knew that she was there. He knew that she was in charge of Tupac's company, Euthanasia. He knew that she sent the fax. So what did he say? Oh, what does he say? What does he say? Even though the fax was sent in August 27, 1996, what does Reggie say? What months does he give? June or July? But we know for a fact, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that that couldn't have happened because she sent the fax on when? On August 27th. It was a total fabricated lie. That's why they took this video down. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to pay attention. I need you to pay attention. From day one, Tupac Shakur wasn't allowed to take tapes out in the studio to listen to his own music. That was unheard of. That was unheard of. What were they afraid of? And so Tupac now, once again, listen, at that particular moment, I want you to understand the bell went off in Tupac's head. Yasmin had been trying to tell him. At that particular moment, bing, Tupac went crazy. And Yasmin, what she had been trying to tell him all along, it went off in his head. So, Kenner said he wouldn't allow it, right? The letter goes out to Kenner firing him. The fax goes out to Reggie firing him. But the most important part about this here is that Pac now understands, not only from Mr. Ogletree, but also from Yasmin, the conflict of interest. The conflict of interest that Yasmin had been trying to tell him, because basically she said what? We felt like there was a dark cloud over us. Right? You get it? So now you understand. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is not to be trusted. He is a liar. From the bottom of his feet to the top of his head, there is not a morsel of honest energy in him. This video right here should tell you everything that you need to know. Like I said, that's why they removed this. Reggie Wright dishes on LT Hutton, Snoop Dogg, Yasmin Fuller, and Vlad. I gave you the timestamp, 37:43 until 38:29. So you know it's real, right? Soon as I gave all of this information, the video disappeared. They didn't want you to see what they did. And so when that happened, right? When that happened, they took this video down, right? This is crazy, right? They took this video down, right? They took that video down, and then what did they do? They did this video. Look at his face. Look at that smile. He know he lying. Right? From what, 4 minutes until 4:31. He made it 2 years later, saying that, oh, I never said that Yasmin was fired. But they already took the proof down. Right? But guess what? Nah, it ain't that easy, man. Look at the video right here. There it is right here. Ladies and gentlemen, indisputable facts. Indisputable facts with pictures, publication dialogue, right? Timeline, timestamps. Can't run from this. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur by way of criminal negligence. He set up the environment. Why? Why? You say you want motive. Well, why would he? Well, why would he do that? Why would he do that? There you go. He was fired. And he was fired in a way for doing something so egregious, right? Pac went crazy. Can you imagine? And then later on to find out that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was still around because he was hired by death row security. But he wanted us to believe that what? If you talking about Tupac's music, y'all, he wanted us to believe, Yasmin said Pac went crazy, right? He wanted us to believe that somehow Tupac didn't like Frank Alexander. Frank Alexander never tried to keep Tupac from one of the things that he loved so much with a passion. His music, his acting, the thing that was feeding him and taking care of his family. You tell me, no, I can't have it? Are you kidding me? And not even to come across as having an ego, just the principle of it. You get it? Yeah. Your boy Delray, straight gang.